So you can probably tell I'm still having trouble looking at the camera and talking. Luckily, I bought a monitor, which is above my camera, but now I have this habit instead, like, instead of looking to nothingness, going to look into my monitor. My monitor is obviously like above my lens, so I'm not even like looking into the frame when I look at my monitor. But like, all right, it took me like a million years to make this video. Like, I recorded it before audio was messed up, so like I'm redoing it. And I remember thinking like, like when I put this video, it's gonna be very bad timing because the new Blackmagic camera is gonna be out. It's gonna make this whole video obsolete. And I'm recording it, and the full frame camera is already out. So like, I mean, I'm still gonna make this because I still think the 6K Pro is the best deal on the market. But yeah, that's exactly what it's gonna be about. Why I think the 6K Pro is the best bang for your buck camera out there, even though the new full frame camera just came out. Now, I think many of you probably agree that, especially when you're starting out, getting into cameras and stuff like that can be pretty daunting. Like, it just kind of just seems so complicated at first. All the equipment's also so expensive, so there's just all this worry and doubt that you're gonna invest in the wrong thing. Like, imagine spending $6,000 on a camera rig and it ends up just not working for your needs whatsoever, and things are messing up, things are wrong, it just doesn't work for you.
Another aspect you do have to consider when you do start looking to cameras is there's all these different brands and ecosystems. And especially like as your career progresses, you start upgrading, you want to like not have to rebuy everything. So you do wonder if you're making the right choice with going into a certain ecosystem. Like lenses aren't universal. There's so many different lens mounts for all these different cameras, and you kind of just want to make sure that you're making the correct investment.
And like, that's a lot of dollar pizzas. It's a lot of McNuggets that you're spending on. So like, you want to make sure you make the right choice. It took me years of looking into things to figure out what I wanted, but I'm also really happy with my decision. I love my Blackmagic 6K Pro. When it comes to how complicated it seems at first, getting to learning your frame rates,
what are focal lengths and how do they affect your image physically and emotionally? What's shutter speed? What's ISO? How do you light? What is raw?
all of it just seems so like daunting and weird and complicated. And this camera just made it so easy and so helpful for me to get into cameras. Yeah, I just want to talk about why I love this camera so much. The thing most of us think we care about when we first get into cameras is image quality. And what you're gonna learn is that,
like, when you compare the $1,300 Blackmagic 4K or the $6,000 Komodo 6K or the $11,000 Canon C500, they all look amazing and great. It's not that they're all look exactly the same, but they all look great. It doesn't matter really, like when it comes to just which camera you get, it's so much deeper than just your camera that makes a great image. A lot of it is the lenses you get, the lighting, and mainly it's your production design and how you set up everything in front of your cameras, what's going to make it look good and cinematic. And a lot of people just think it's just the camera, when really it's not. The camera is just a tool, and each of them have their own quirks. And that's kind of why you buy them. It's just to help you with your ease of workflow. Like, your camera is just like what makes it easiest for you to shoot the way you need to shoot. Everything else is what gets you the image you love and want.
All these cameras do look great, and that shouldn't be like the main thing, the reason why you buy a camera. Like, spending $11,000 on a camera isn't some cheat code that's going to make your films look like they're shot by Greg Fraser or Pietro or Roger Deakins or anything of that nature. The big thing that makes an image look cinematic is your lighting, it's your production design. The lenses also help a lot. There's all these other things that help make your footage look presentable and look great. So mine looks like crap because I still am learning about all those things. Like, my lighting setup here kind of sucks. Plus the sun's like going down. I don't even think it matches the setup I have now anymore. So if all of them look great, then why in the world should you invest? Like, how do you even decide what camera you should get? Like, what cinema camera you should get when there's so many options with so many different prices and everything? And it really all just comes down to your workflow and what you want to make and what you're going to be doing, and just all the different needs you have. Those are all the unique things you're going to make whatever camera you buy, the best camera for you. If all cinema cameras all look amazing, then how you decide which one you want, especially when they're all so freaking expensive? Well, it really just comes down to your workflows and your needs. What do you want out of a cinema camera? What are you going to be doing? What are you going to be working on? What's your workflow going to be like? All those things are what add up to what type of cinema camera you want to buy. For me, I just want something really simple, something to just pick up and shoot, something that I can learn with and get an idea of what it's like for a cinema camera. You know, just something, a great entry cinema camera, because I mean, I don't know anything about cinematography or anything like that, and I just want to learn. Plus, I do a lot of narrative work.
I also wanted something that would be long term, something that would make me feel like I don't need to upgrade for a while, that feels like I could have this camera for a very long time because it fits all my needs perfectly. I also wanted something that would compensate for my flaws, especially because I am just starting out.
And all those things is what led me to the Blackmagic 6K Pro. It checks off every single box. So it's a really user-friendly and minimalist camera. Like, you really don't have to rig it out just to go out and shoot with it like other cameras where you really need to spend all of your money rigging it out. And one great thing, since the camera is so affordable, the amount of money you would spend on, say, a Red Komodo, which was $6,000, this camera by itself was $2,500. You can spend the other couple $1,000s rigging out the camera and making it even better than what it is. But I love how easy to use out the box. The form factor is really comfortable. Just it's built like a DSLR, so it's something familiar to most people. Most people have picked up a DSLR in their life. Now it is bulky and large, which doesn't make it cinema friendly when it comes to rigging it out. I do kind of wish the cameras were a bit more ergonomically friendly. I'm still kind of mad the full frame 6K wasn't. I do like that you don't need side handles or anything. I only have it because just for some bit easy stabilization every once in a while, but you don't need it. You can just grab it. It's just like, it's so easy and simple to use and really comfortable. Another great thing is dual native ISO, and that's really helpful for low budget filmmakers who are just starting out, because sometimes you're gonna be like filming in environments where you can't even light correctly. I did not own as many lights as I do now, which I barely own any as is when I first started out. You can kind of tell with parasomnia and from a distance that I didn't have all the lighting equipment in the world, and dual native ISO saved a lot, especially from a distance in these scenes inside the apartment. I needed to go up to 3200 ISO to get those exposed correctly, and it still didn't look that bad. I mean, I didn't know how to color grade back then, so I mean, like, that's one thing that really could have been improved. But I mean, like, the first day I shot it at the native 400 and it looked really bad. We did reshoots, I made sure to do 3200 and it looked so much better. And I love that you can film in low light environments a lot easier. It doesn't exactly fix the problem, but it does cover you, and that's great, especially when you're starting out and can't afford expensive lights. Another lifesaver is the built-in ND filters. This kind of is what makes it worth the money, especially when you compare it to the 6K and the 4K or the 6K G2. I forgot that's a thing. Because how much it costs to even buy ND filters, if you add that to the price of one of those, it just makes this camera worth it off the back as is. But ND filters are basically just the sunglasses for your camera. They're great when you're going outside. I live in Atlanta. The sun is terribly annoying, and there's times where I've gone outside to shoot and I needed to use the ND filters so it wouldn't be too blown out, because the sun here is killer. It's just one of those great things you never realize you need until you have it. The first short I shot with this, which didn't come out, I had to just shoot shots through a doorway outdoors, and I checked my false color, it was blown out. Clicked on the ND filter, fixed the problem. Something I didn't even think I would even use them when I bought the camera. I had as like a safe thing, it's like just in case, like, oh, I'm gonna be filming indoors. I mean, I probably never use it. First day I had to use it, like I had to use the camera, I had to use the filters. It is a lifesaver for when you go outside. It saves you so much money having built-in ND filters.
I also like that the camera does have some weight to it. It makes handheld shots a bit easier to be stable, because like it's not so like you're not jittering as much. And not only that, but the camera does have a built-in gyro, which makes stabilizing a post even better. And I use it a lot, honestly, since I do so much handheld work.
Now, of course, one big problem with the camera is the just god-awful battery life. It's terrible, really bad. I bought extra batteries as a just in case so that I can just swap them out when I have to. And that is definitely one thing they could definitely improve on. I still need to buy a V-mount battery, but that costs just so much money. It is one thing that I don't like about the camera. That's something you need to be prepared for. I would buy 2 extra batteries when you buy this camera. That way you're not like in the middle of a shoot and just dies on you and there's nothing you can do about it. I always just have them charging and I'm just switching them out as I go. But luckily, the charger I have charges them fast enough to like, even if they don't get to 100, when one battery dies, I can switch to another and still keep going. By the time it dies, there's another one just ready. That's just one thing I do recommend is just buying extra batteries when you buy this camera.
I think one downside a lot of people have for this camera is the fact that it lacks autofocus, which I get why some people would want to have autofocus, but being that it is a cinema camera, I do think depending on your needs and what you film, just because I do mainly narrative work, learning to pull focus correctly, like manually, is an important skill to have, something I'm definitely still learning, and I really, feel like it's something that everybody should learn to do. Of course, it makes stuff like this a little harder because I can't like move too much within the plane without like going out of focus and whatnot. I kind of have to stay like in the same spot to like stay in focus. You can see it kind of like falling off and getting on to talk about this part, but like I get why some people want autofocus, but I think it makes you want to take the time to actually get your focus right and be intentional with your shots and your focus. And sometimes constraints aren't bad. Sometimes constraints can make you even more creative.
Dang, the sun is all the way gone now. I'm just gonna like, so just matches outside. Yeah, this is dark. I know, but like, I kind of just want to match. I'm OCD. B-raw is a lifesaver. Being able to shoot raw. Now I know it's not technically raw. There's a whole bunch of copyright stuff with that. It's red and everything. You could look that up if you want. It works basically almost the exact same way, which is great. So like when you're still learning, if you're just moving quickly and not thinking, you actually set the wrong white balance, or if you set the wrong ISO, that's something you can change in post, which is great. It also gives you a lot more flexibility, especially when you're just starting out and you need like that extra information when you're color grading and everything. It's just good to have, and I really love it. It does take up a lot of space in your storage. Luckily, I have a 1TB SSD for my camera to solve that problem. But I mean, like, shooting raw is a lifesaver. I did have to shoot ProRes once on a shoot where I was being a DP for this short film, and the ProRes still looks really great and works really well. It takes up a lot less storage. I might also start using it more often for stuff where I don't feel like I need the extra information. But it's great that you have both. You can shoot 4K ProRes and still use the full sensor, or you can shoot 6K B-raw and use this whole sensor. And they both work great. And they both look great. They're both very flexible, and I love them both. There are definitely 2 great positives about having this camera.
Now, one thing I also like is the fact that it does have a swivel monitor in the back. That way you do not need to buy a monitor right away. In most situations, the swivel monitor fits many needs, which can be very helpful for shooting. And it's a pretty large monitor that gets pretty bright. I think the on-camera monitor is about 5 inches. The only reason why I ended up buying a monitor was for stuff like this, where I just needed to look at myself. And plus, for some situations, on a separate external monitor, it's easier to pull focus, so it's not necessarily needed. I rarely use my monitor, honestly. I only use it when I feel like I have to use it.
Something important to just consider at the end of the day is the fact that a camera is just a tool. You shouldn't like let a tool like that hold you back from creating something. You don't need a cinema camera. They're just very convenient. It's something nice to upgrade to, but you shouldn't stop you from creating something. You don't need this camera or any camera to make the short films you want. Really, the things you should be investing in first is like your audio equipment. Audio is incredibly underrated. It's arguably way more important than your image. And when it comes to your image, yeah, you should be like investing more in lights and learning about lighting. There's also like getting better quality lenses when you do buy a camera. And learning about like, that's going to be like another big thing that's going to upgrade your image or create a certain look to it. But I think it's very important to consider. Like, I think it's important to do trial and error before you spend a bunch of money on equipment like this. And I think the important thing is just to have fun. Like, it's fine to shoot on your phone and to learn your style and learn what you like to shoot and how you like to shoot before you spend so much money on equipment. Because like you should know, you want to know that stuff before you spend money on equipment, so you're not getting the wrong thing. It's okay to have your first couple, like everybody knows the first scripts you write, the first shorts you write or first shorts you make and everything are not going to be good. That is just a very normal part of the process. You might as well use that time to just learn and practice, and that's why it's fine not getting a cinema camera or anything like that right away. It should just be good though that when you do end up making that investment, that you make the right investment and the best choice you can make. The important thing really is just to learn and practice. Learn some lighting first, like learn like what the different camera angles mean, learn about lenses and everything. I think it's just important just to practice first and just not stop creating. And when you're all ready to finally invest in all this equipment, you'll know exactly what you want and what you need. I hope this video was helpful. It's kind of like loose, but I hope this is helpful. And if you want to continue watching me on my journey from going from like a noob to like being halfway decent, subscribe and just stay tuned.